looks like we are live. I was just sitting here chatting with you guys, not even paying attention to it was 1. So yeah, I'm here now. Well, I mean, I guess I was already here. We were already chatting. Okay, yeah, I see that. I don't know if you saw my comment. Paul said that he just tore his canvas by removing it from the stretcher bars in an attempt to frame it. I should have left it to the framers. DIY isn't good sometimes. I don't know if you know this, there's no reason to remove it from the stretchers. The only time that I've removed a canvas from the stretchers is because I had to ship it to Australia, and the only way to get it there because of how large it was to roll it into a tube. You shouldn't normally need to remove it from the stretchers, even to frame. You frame it in the front, like open frames are made for the stretcher bars. So in the future, don't remove them from the stretcher bars. Leave those there. Those are a permanent thing. Hopefully that helps. I'm sorry you ripped it though. That's sad. I've done it before. I mean, not from that, but actually one of the ways that I put a hole in one of my canvases, and this is before I started hoarding canvases. I'll ramble for a minute before we get started. Wait for a couple more people to get here. But one of the ways that I've torn a canvas, it was a cheap Hobby Lobby generic, and this was there were a couple more times maybe after this before I was like, I'm done. I'm only using Fredericks because I've never had problems with them. But I got a canvas, and it was the only canvas that size that I had at home that I, for the size that I was working on. It was a 24 by 30 inch, I believe. And I removed the center brace was pushing on the canvas because, like all of these cheap canvases, the stretcher bars were warping. So I was like, well, that size, it doesn't need to have that. So I started pulling it out. Yeah, I put a hole through it, but it was the only canvas I had, and I wanted to paint that night so bad. So I just painted it. It was a painting for me of my Italian Greyhound that I used to have. So it wasn't a huge deal that like it had a hole because I could keep it, but I can't sell it. I could never sell it. And I've had people want to buy that one, and it's like, hole through it, can't do it. So yeah, I understand. But after that, that's when I was like, I started at that point hoarding canvases. I would buy multiples, so I always had a backup at home. And then I also, shortly after that, because I kept having problems with other canvases, I was like, that's it. Only using Fredericks. No more for me. So that's how that all came to be. Mosquito bite on my ankle, so you're probably going to see me sit here scratch it like a classy lady during the live stream. Okay, let's see. Paul said, oh really, I thought they put like a spring or wire thing to frame it. They can put a spring or wire thing on the stretcher bar. So let me show you. Do I have one in here I can show you? Nothing that's small that I can get to. I'm looking around to see if I have any. Hold on one second. Actually, we can show you this. Maybe. Okay, yeah. Oh wait, this would be better. So this is still in the package, but it'll make it so that I can show you with these canvases. And just for transparency, I am sponsored by Fredericks, but I had already made the switch to I will only use these canvases ever again before they sponsored me. So that didn't really, make a change there. But look at the stretcher bars, how it's stretched around it. And this one's gallery wrapped. So I would, let's see, maybe it's easier to show here. Let me pull this up so I can make sure I'm on frame. These, you want to frame well, if you're going to frame it, you don't have to paint the edges. But if you're not, I like to paint the edges so when it hangs, it's all nice all the way around. Although I do have some hung that aren't painted on the edges. But the back of it, I have framed, there's a few ways that I'll hang these. One, if I just don't want to put a hanger on it, I'll just hang it like, you can hang, here, we'll put a hole in it, just with the nail. You can stick it on the wall with the nail resting on the board there. I've done that on a lighter weight canvas. On the heavier ones, you can put a wire attached to the stretcher bar itself. I've done that as well. You have to be careful. There have been times where I was not careful enough with the screw when I was putting it in there, slipped and tore the canvas. So that was my fault. I can't blame the canvas on that one. And then the other way is if you have an open frame, you leave this exactly like it is. You'll never, like I have no reason to ever take this out. I will just stick this into the open frame. Do I have any? I don't have any in here right now to show you, but it's made to sit in there. That's what an open frame does. You don't put this behind glass. And there are little hooks that will, like little, I don't know what they're called, little metal things that you screw into the canvas. It holds this in, or not into the canvas, sorry. You don't screw anything in the canvas. You screw it into the frame and it kind of latches, it holds it into place. And then you would put typically the wire to hang it on the frame itself, not on this. So those are the ways that I would frame those. But yeah, no, leave it in there. Don't ever take those out if you can avoid it. obviously found out what happens when you do that. But the thing is, even if it didn't rip, you don't want it out of there. You always want it in the stretcher bar. Like, so anyway, let's see. TK said, what tape do you use? Sadly, I ruined some of my paintings after trying to get the tape off. I use, it is a black, let's turn this around. These are the two that I use. On this one, on the bottom, I have regular masking tape, but that will get cut off before I mat it. So I don't care if like it's not acid free. It doesn't really matter because that, like I said, will get removed. This here though, this is acid free. It's pH neutral. I don't know if you can see here. It's Pro Artist tape. And this one says pH neutral premium masking tape. I've gotten them at, I want to say Dick Blick and Amazon. But that is what I use. Now, if you put tape, and it's not that is a little bit lower tack than your normal masking tape. If you put tape and it won't come off, take your hairdryer or like a heater, a heated, like make the hairdryer hot. Run that over the tape. It'll melt the adhesive and it makes it easier to pull off. So that should help. George said, hi, I'm looking forward to your lesson today. I'll be working with my complex portrait again while listening. Nice. Kyan said, I have a problem. I've been doing digital art so much recently that when I go to draw traditionally, all my skill is gone. I tried to do a self-portrait, but it failed miserably. You didn't lose your skill. Your skill doesn't go anywhere. Like, that's not how that works. You're just out of practice for the other. Like, it doesn't disappear. You just need to practice like you did in the first place. So you just practice. Your skill is there. You just have to wake it back up. It's taking a nap. I like naps. I'm an old lady. Horsewoman said, where do we get the reference photo? It is at, and then Nick posted it, patreon.com/Lachri. You do not need to be a member to get that. It is free. You just download it there. And that actually reminds me, got to do my quick plug here. If you are watching and you're like, wow, you talk too much. I just want the tutorial. Just focus on the tutorial. That's what Patreon is for. These are art chats. We're going to chat while we work. But if you want just a straight tutorial, those are, step-by-step what I'm painting and what I'm doing. Those are over at Patreon for as little as $4 a month. And yeah, those are available for you there. And to the like 2 people who will say, well, I don't want to pay that. And it's like $4. Your art supplies cost hundreds. I can only feel so bad at that point that I'm being a jerk, but kind of no, because it's like I have a lot of people who want all of everything I do to be free, and I'm like, I have to pay my bills too. Like I will. If the electricity goes off, we can't record. I can't show you anything. So anyway, if you want just me not rambling like this, that is over at Patreon. Let's see. Nina said, I'm interested in selling my 11x14 original colored pencil art, but I'm not sure how to ship the art. Should I put it in envelopes or not? Oh God, no. Box, always in a box. A box, or depending on how it's done, you may want to put it in a tube. But I would certainly not put it in an envelope, because you have to imagine when you're talking about shipping art, the UPS drivers, USPS, FedEx, I don't care who it is, I swear they do everything possible to crush the work, to break the box. I mean, I know it's not intentional, but you have to think of it that way. You have to imagine, if I handed this box to a 3-year-old to play with, stand on, jump with, throw across the room, whatever, is that box going to survive? Like a week of that. If not, you didn't package it right. Is an envelope going to do it? Well, I'll put cardboard in the envelope. Can a 3-year-old damage it? If so, that's my general rule of knowing this is not good enough. If I gave this to a 3-year-old to play with for a week, is it going to make it through? No, I didn't box it well enough. So that would be my recommendation of how to look at that. Put it in a box, and then I put cardboard in between. So with colored pencil, it would be with glassine to protect it, wrapped in glassine, and then cardboard on top and below, kind of taped into it, and then inside a box. So really, as much as possible, protect it. And one of the things that I think I'm planning on doing, I guess I can pick out colors while we're sitting here talking. One of the things that I'm personally planning on doing is seeing what the most inexpensive plywood I can get is. Like thin sheets of it, and having my neighbor cut it into sizes for paintings, because I had to ship a really large 24 by 36 inch this week. And the easiest way to protect it, I put it in a box. I had it with foam. That box, that 3-year-old was going to, stop chewing, Wade. That 3-year-old was going to destroy. So I ended up finding something else that was shipped to me, had this super thin plywood. I taped the artwork to that. I wrapped it in glassine, taped the canvas to that plywood on the front. So this thing is protected. That 3-year-old can stand on it now. Like you can have dinner on that box and it's safe. So, and then put inside a bigger box with foam and all of that too. So that is my recommendation for, or how I ship. Jason said, what are the hardnesses you are using to draw out the drawing today? So this is a 2B water soluble graphite pencil from Faber-Castell that I used on this. Let's see. Thanks, Annette. Angel said, do you recreate, say, damaged or lost painting, especially if the one's been, do you recreate, say, a damaged or lost painting, especially the ones that you've been emotionally connected painting with? I have in the past redone paintings. I won't do it again. It sucks. It's no fun. So if someone's like, well, I want one like this for my mom and one like this for my aunt. Okay, I'm going to do two different ones that may have a theme, but they're not going to be the same. I used to do that, and I used to before prints, when someone would see something of mine that they liked, and they're like, ooh, got a lot of good pinks. And I'm choosing my colors, by the way. Mostly, I've got my Caran d'Ache, I've got my Faber-Castell, I've got Derwent watercolor pencils, and I'm choosing them mostly based on who has the color I want right now. So there's no, use whatever you've got. Let's see, I need like a peach. There we go, that is a good color. Faber-Castell is winning on my color choices today. Let's see, I need some purples. And I'll tell you which colors I'm using as I go. And I'm kind of experimenting here. I'll try a color. If it doesn't look right, we'll try a different color. If there is no, like, it has to be this color or it's not going to look good. As always, it is your values that is going to make it look realistic or not. Not having the perfect color. Let's see. I need a nice aqua. Maybe this guy. Okay, let's see how this works. It seems like I've got a bigger selection of colors I want out of my Faber-Castell set, so the majority of what I just pulled out are from there. Let's see, we've gotten Derwent. Derwent. Ooh, I like this one. What is that, Heather? No, this is Light Violet. I like that one. Very similar to one of the ones I pulled out in Caran d'Ache. That one looks good, and sure, we'll go, ooh, we'll use you on the outside edge. Okay, so I've got some for all three sets. I'll tell you what I'm using, but like I said, you do not have to have the same colors. You don't have to have the same pencils. Heck, you don't even have to have the same medium. It's about your values. Light's light enough, dark's dark enough. That matters more than just about anything. Let's see. Where were we? There we go. Monica said, hi, I want to thank you for your tips. We figured out what was making the panda so cartoony looking. My mom said it was too fluorescent. Oh, that's interesting. I toned the colors down. Now it looks realistic. That's interesting. I didn't even think that could be the issue. Nick said, Shah asks, I have a doubt regarding acrylic paints. How do you get your paints opaque? So I like them to be very translucent, and one of the main, I'm gonna just block in my dark while we're sitting here. So I'm going to start with Imperial Purple by Derwent. Oh, do I have sharpeners? Kinda. I will paint it white. Like, let's say I painted a blue, like underwater scene, and I want a yellow fish on it. So I paint it blue, then I paint white, then I paint yellow. Yellow is extremely translucent, but it looks opaque when it's painted on top of the white. And so that's typically how I achieve that. Now, there are colors or brands that are more opaque. So let's say who am I thinking of? Typically, the Liquitex Soft Body is going to be more opaque in most colors, not all of them. Most of them are going to be more opaque than the Liquitex Basic. So if you just want straight opaque paint, that may be the way to go. I personally do everything in glazing, so I don't care if it's opaque. I just care, I just get that white first. If I needed like a bright yellow on top of a dark color, that would be how I would achieve that. Let's see. Just as a reminder, if you do have a question, make sure to tag at Lachri Fine Art. If you don't see it, highlight my name in orange. I just don't see it. It's not that I'm trying to ignore you, but I will be. Also, I'm going to be a pest and start asking people to hit the like button. I don't know. I'm seeing where a lot of people say it made a big difference. YouTube is like, no, it doesn't make a difference. But then I'm seeing where YouTubers are like, we tried asking people to hit the like button versus not asking, and it made a big difference in how many viewers they got, meaning YouTube was sharing it with more people. So I don't know. Either way, it's not going to hurt, and it's free. I like free. Although I still need, we were talking about on Wednesday, me getting a stupid hat to wear when we get a certain point. I can embarrass myself with a silly hat. That actually wouldn't embarrass me. It would probably take a lot more to embarrass me. I don't think this is going to be dark enough. I think I'm going to get a darker plum color because I want this to really pop against this edge. I'm not doing it exactly like the reference photo, clearly. Now, you see how I'm resting my hand on my artwork? I don't recommend, wow, let's try that in English. I don't recommend that. Your hands, they are not acid-free. They are not pH neutral. We don't want the oils from our skin, even if our hands are clean, which mine are, that still gets on the artwork and it's not good over time. So glassine is typically what I put under my hand. I'm being lazy because I'm not worried about selling this. I will probably give it to a friend. But that is something that you need to be aware of. Or heck, I may just put it on my wall. I don't know. I'm trying to think which friend would want this. The only friend I know that's really into plants, I think, would prefer me to do an aroid than a succulent, but we'll see. Stacy, if you're watching, you may be getting this. And I don't care enough to make your work pH neutral. Let's see. I need something a bit darker. Let's see what we've got in the Faber-Castell. I need a bigger table over here, I think, for all of my supplies. It would make things easier. So these are the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer. Let's see. Dark indigo looks dark. Let's go with that. So one of the things I found with the Caran d'Ache, especially with purples, their purples do not get dark at all, no matter how many times you layer. So yeah, that is why I'm not using the, oh, this would be pretty. Let's let it fade up into the light. We'll get all fancy. Okay, I am going to be using, these are the Derwent water, just water brushes. I use that to paint with. Ooh, pretty. I may do another layer to make it, well, maybe not. Yeah, I think I'll have to do another layer to make this a bit darker because I don't know if it's going to let the succulent stand out as much as I want. Maybe. Maybe I'll leave it like this, and if I decide once the succulent is drawn in, if it's not dark enough or it doesn't, you know, create enough contrast, I may go back. Right now it's pretty, but I don't know once I get that other one in there. Now, when it comes to the watercolor pencils, the main differences between the brands I use, both the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer and the Derwent watercolor pencils, they are more like your true watercolor. They're very translucent. Once you add water, beautiful. The Caran d'Ache are more opaque, more like a gouache, gouache being opaque watercolor. So that's the biggest difference, which is hilarious to me because like so much misinformation from some of these companies. Caran d'Ache, and I don't mean to bash them, like I love their products, but Caran d'Ache lists this, or at least on their website at one point, I don't know if they've changed this, hopefully they did because it's incorrect. They list this as like a true watercolor, truly translucent, unlike blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, no, yours are gouache. Yours are gouache, they're opaque. They're not like the translucent. So if you want more translucent, the Faber-Castell, the Derwent do. Derwent's not going to be as opaque at all as Faber-Castell, but Derwent also costs a lot less. So it depends on what your goals are. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you want your work, let's see, let's pick the next one to start on while we let that set. If you want your work, like if you were planning to sell, it's very important that you use the words are hard. Light fast, that's the word. You think how often I say it, I wouldn't miss that one. But you want light fast pencils. If you're not selling your work, or if you only care about making prints of your work, then it doesn't matter really if it's light fast. But you don't want to sell something that would potentially fade over time because somebody who spends, you know, a paycheck worth to buy your art, and in a few years, whether that be 5 years or 20 years, they're going to be pretty angry at you when it doesn't look like what they bought. So you don't want to build that sort of reputation for you. That's for yourself, that's for sure. This one, by the way, is violet pink, and that is the Caran d'Ache. The aquarelle, or museum aquarelle, I believe. But you don't want to be selling work that has the potential to fade. And I mean, you can put it behind UV glass, you can spray light fast or UV spray over it, and hopefully that will help. But let's just use light fast products for stuff we're going to sell. Now, if you're just making prints and selling the prints, that's no problem. The prints could be light fast. But with the original artwork, that is something that you definitely want to be aware of. In this case, I'm using so let's go back what my original point was. So if you're just going to make prints, you're wanting to play with them, and you don't want to spend as much, then the Derwent watercolor their performance is beautiful. I love them. But if you want something more opaque or more light fast, you want to sell your work, then I would go to the Faber-Castell Albrecht drawer. And then you've also got the Caran d'Ache. They're more light fast than Derwent, not as light fast as Faber-Castell. So like as far as how many of the colors are light fast, I forget what the percentage of light fast versus not light fast are in the Caran d'Ache. And I think the Caran d'Ache were the most expensive. Typical. Let's see. TK said your pronunciation of Albrecht drawer is really cute and funny. I'm from Germany. It just makes me smile. Well, I mispronounce stuff in English too, so I mean, I want you to feel special, but don't feel too special because I mispronounce everything. Ask anyone who I've tried to pronounce their name. I butcher everyone's names. Heather said, as soon as I see your post for the live streams, like the video, automatically, let's face it, in 4 years, I haven't ever disliked any of your videos. Also, I share while waiting for live. Thank you so much. That's the other thing. You guys, when you share my stuff, it makes a huge difference. Like that is what makes the biggest difference in people finding my videos or watching them. And obviously I need to try to make stuff that interests people, because if it doesn't interest you, why would you share it? I get that. But yeah, thank you so much. If you want to help out, sharing and liking, like that's some of the biggest help you can do for me. You can share, well, some art groups will let you share. Some art groups wouldn't let me share, but might let you share because it's not your video, which is kind of funny. So that may be a thing you could do if you wanted to help. But I really appreciate it. Hello, Shiny said, hat? That's nothing. No, you have to use soft pastels. Oh, dear God, no, that's just painful. That's more torture. I love, if you're not sure what we're talking about, I love the look of soft pastels. Love them. Like Jason Morgan, Unmasked Art, they do amazing work with them. Oh God, it freaks me out to use. Like if it gets on my hands, the sound, everything, it's nails on a chalkboard to me. I can't work with them. Like it weirdly freaks me out. Let's see. I'm all kinds of out of order. Let's scroll up. Here we go. Kyan said, when drawing portraits, what's the best way to build up the nose? I always outline it and it looks horrible. Oh, don't outline it. So if you want to outline it with one of these. Like get a little graphite on it so it's dirty. Hold on. Look, I even have it right here because I've been organizing. Use a little shading stump. These are like if you draw on it. Let's see. Let me grab it. Do I not have paper right here? I don't because I cleaned. I put all my paper away. Hold on because I'm going to need this later anyway. So you can see this is dirty. I've used it. I can draw out the edge of a nose. See how soft it is? There's going to be no harsh lines. And then I can come through with the pencils and do shading there. But see how it's very soft? I'm not pushing hard. I don't have any definite lines. They're just shadows because the nose, just like everywhere else, it's shadows. You're not going to have harsh lines. But you can draw with this and have that nice softness. And I think I just bumped my camera. Let's see if I messed that up. Yeah, a little bit. So that is what I do when I draw out noses. I don't draw it with an actual like pencil. If you're working in graphite. Let's see. Sarah said, I started portrait, but I ran out of the main color, and I'm afraid the skin is not going to be even if I continue without it. It's your values. Like it's not so much of the color. Like now let's say, do you mean you mixed a color and you didn't get the same mix, or is there an actual tube of paint that you were using and you can't use now? I mean, even then, sometimes depending on what you're missing, you may have other things that you could mix and make it look almost the same. So those are, yeah, I think there is a gnat. See, I've got fungus gnats like crazy in here. Since that terrarium, I've been using more humidity and I just sidetracked, by the way. I've got a bio orb. I don't know if you can see it behind me. Wait, here, if I move, I think you can see. Wrong way. Yes, that was the way. You can see it right there. It's a 16-gallon vivarium, but the fungus, because of the way that it's open in the top, the fungus gnats get in there. So it's like got the humidity, but a nice, like multiple doors to invite the fungus gnats in. So I have a little frog. He's just getting brave enough to start hunting in there, a little dart frog. But I think I need to do one of the like the vinegar. You guys have given me some tips. I'm going to have to do that for the rest of the studio with all the plants in here. So I'm just blocking in where the peach is going to go. I say peach, but it's really that rose color. I'll have to come back through with a bit of orange. see, we've got some pink back there. Now notice this is very different than when I work in colored pencils. I don't have to work in like little circles, little ovals. Nothing has to be smooth. This blends out beautifully. Let's see, Tatiana said, when you were choosing the watercolor pencils for this project, do you keep in mind if they will be lighter or darker when you add water? Well, yeah, I mean, to an extent. And one of the things that I typically will do is like sample, like my little scratch paper to sample to see what it does look like with water. Here, I'm just kind of winging it because I don't want to take that much time, but I do recommend other people doing that if you're not sure what that color is going to look like. Starving Artist Collective said, antler hat at 300 likes. I need to find an antler hat. Link me one if you see it. Hopefully located in the US so it's easy for me to get shipped. Hello Shiny said, okay, I got that one. I'm kind of going backwards because I got mixed up on my order here. Who do we have next? Kyan said, what's your least favorite medium other than pastels? That's it, really. I'm gonna go with that one. I don't really have, that's the only one that I just won't work in. Marker, okay, I would say also like I'm not good at working with like Copic markers, which aren't light fast anyway. I do like I used to just say markers in general, but now that there's the pigment markers, I really like those from Winsor & Newton. So, because I get the way you can blend them on Yupo. Tangling myself up in my airbrush cord. Let's see. Heather, it's okay. I'm freaked out by charcoal, so I really understand you and chalk pastels. It does make me feel better. Casey said, thank you for doing this. I've been eagerly waiting, figured out my school schedule so I can watch the stream. I get to watch you from 11 to 12:50. Nice. Erica said, also, I know it has to be quick pieces for these chats, but can we do colored pencil over watercolor? Colored pencil with pastel matte for one of these tutorials, even on Patreon. Colored pencil, you want colored pencil or, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read that right. You want, let's see, quick pieces for these chats. Can we do colored pencil or watercolor colored pencil with pastel matte? Pastel matte's not suitable really for watercolor. Watercolor pencils wouldn't be my choice, but colored pencil on pastel matte, absolutely. And even probably could do a small sample on pastel matte if I cut the paper down, even for one of these, but on Patreon too, for sure. I'm currently for Patreon working on a giraffe. I haven't even touched it in a couple of weeks, but a giraffe in graphite. I've been updating some of my older videos, so yeah, that's why that one's not done yet. And if you have something where you're like, oh, that's not in the right place, it does not matter. It is not a big deal. We just want to make this pretty. It's not something where every little thing has to be exact. Like, it really is not that important. Lock a few more of those in really quickly. Now, luckily, the Derwent watercolor pencil, super opaque. I can go right over this. Or really, we could just use, like for final highlights, I could just grab like a Derwent Drawing Chinese White if we really wanted something brighter. That would also work. You can put a wax or oil-based colored pencil, so like your Polychromos, your Derwent Drawing, Derwent Lightfast, Caran d'Ache Luminance, those can go on top of watercolor, but not the other way around. You can put the wax or oil-based pencil on top of the water-based watercolor pencil, just not the reverse. Not if you want it to be light fast. Aurora said, have you ever heard or tried Posca pens? I have not. Actually, the name sounds familiar, but I don't really know anything about it. Kissy Cat said, I recently signed up to your Patreon. Wow, I'm so impressed. I am a beginner and my skills are coming on in leaps and bounds. Thank you. That is so awesome to hear. Yay. That, like, seriously, that gives me goosebumps. That's like exactly what, oh, it's my favorite thing to hear. Nina said, do you have any tips on drawing animals in colored pencil? Practice. I mean, if you've got a more like specific question, I can answer it, but that's such a broad thing. Really just practice. Again, if you've got, feel free to ask again if you have like a specific thing, but it's such a big question. My big tip, get a good reference photo. That would be first. Like, don't take a reference photo like, oh, I want to draw a dog and I took a picture of my dog and he's across the yard. Like, that's not usable. Get a good quality reference photo. That would probably, there's your broad tip to go with the broad question. But yeah, if you've got a more defined, I would be happy to answer that. That's just a little too out there. Like I had somebody ask me today on my Facebook page, they wanted tips for drawing all kinds of faces. I don't even know where to begin with that practice. Oh, I think my answer was like step 1, get a good reference photo. Step 2, practice. Step 3, repeat. And I mean, that's going to be the tip for everything. That would be the best thing to go. But if you've got something more specific, if you can narrow it down, I'd be happy to give more tips. Heather said, are you getting the watercolored pencil marks out by light pressure? Yes, I'm not pushing very hard at all. If you push hard, it doesn't blend as much. Boots Mama said, are you still going to do an orca in Inktense? If I find a reference photo, absolutely. It's on my to-do list still. I still have my lists. Hagen said, thanks for telling me about light fastness. I have done a painting in watercolor and within a few months it disappeared from the canvas. Yeah, watercolor is notorious for light fast issues. I actually suspect that it's one of the reasons, like watercolor and colored pencil for years, and even now you still have a lot of people who just don't take, oh, hey, look. New light, where did it go? New patron. If you're watching, Lynn, welcome. But a lot of places, a lot of words, again, fail me. No one's surprised. That doesn't fit. That doesn't fit. I failed this game as a child. A lot of galleries didn't take watercolor work. They don't take, even now, don't take colored pencil work seriously. Like they don't want people, they feel like they can't sell it. And I think part of it goes back to the fact that a lot of these materials were not light fast for years. Acrylics and oils, for the most part, were. Watercolor, color pencil, they faded. They didn't last as long, and they're done on paper normally. But a lot of people, I think, still have that idea about them and are just like, meh, like it's not gonna last. I definitely am gonna have to go darker. Actually, I'm probably gonna switch to Derwent. I think is a little bit darker for that color. Do we have more teal? Whoops, everything's falling out. I need to get a pencil tray for these. I just haven't gotten that far yet. Like the 3-drawer pastel box. Those are wonderful. Actually, I want a teal of this too. Changing my mind. There we go. Oh, you too. Come here. If I remember correctly, these were a bit darker. Let's see. Sarah said, I can't use acrylic to save my life. Practice more. Oh, I mean, if you're not having fun practicing, you can try another medium. Acrylic, honestly, is one of the more difficult, which is funny because when people would come to my classes, they would always start with, like, they were interested in doing oil, but they thought it would be too hard, so they wanted to do acrylics. And I'm like, no, other way around. Acrylics are the harder one to really get the hang of. So this one is turquoise green. That is the Derwent. It's funny, usually, well, maybe not usually, but a lot of the time the Derwent isn't, I don't know, performance, colored pencils wise, Derwent for years didn't really compare with some of the other brands of pencils. And that lately their stuff has been amazing. And, oh, and just for transparency, Derwent provided me with their watercolor pencils. Like I wasn't paid to say anything. It was just like, here, try these. Faber-Castell was in a trade for some work I did for them. Excuse me. That's how I got those pencils. So, just for transparency there, I didn't pay for those, but again, was never told like, hey, can you say this? Can you promote this? It was just like, okay, here is your payment for the work you did. Which, God, one of the things that drives me crazy, I did the haul for the Faber-Castell supplies. The amount of people that thought that I should be giving that stuff away because that's what they gave it to you for. No, they didn't. That was payment for work done. Like, it was not just, here's a free gift. Give this to your followers. Like, it is amazing how I'll occasionally get somebody who is determined they need me to give these supplies away. Like, you know I can't make videos without these supplies, right? And I work for them. They were not free gifts. But it always, like, and it's usually younger people that are just determined that everything should be given to them for free. And it's also, I'm like, you realize even if I did a giveaway, you probably, like, statistically would not even win. So why are you getting on me about that? Yeah, people can be jerks on YouTube. Where is my, there it is. Let's see. Violet Sky said, hi Lisa, I couldn't catch the last live stream, so I watched the replay today. I was yelling out loud, no, don't watch Elf. Will Ferrell is horrible as usual. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm getting mixed reviews on that. I'm leaning towards that I won't like it just because I hate Will Ferrell so much, but yeah. Deanne said, hi Lisa, I just purchased Caran d'Ache Aquarelle pencils. Question, would using other colored pencils with awesome light fast make up for the lack of it in base color? No, because this is what happens. The colored pencils are, even with like light fast colored pencils, they're translucent. So if you put down, let's say I put down this turquoise and it was super not light fast. Is it light fast? I believe this one is. But let's say it wasn't light fast. And I put another, like a purple on top. And that purple's color that came out was affected by the teal I had underneath. So if that teal fades, now the purple is essentially on white paper. It doesn't look the same. So it doesn't matter that you put a light fast one on top because this one can still fade. Being light fast doesn't mean it protects the non-light fast colors because that's not how pigment works. Now you could like it's not a protection. You could potentially put UV protecting glass, you could put UV spray and that can help. But no, just putting a light fast product on, like a light fast pencil on top of a non-light fast pencil, it's going to adjust what the light fast looks like when this one fades and you're just up against white paper instead of the teal you initially intended. It's a good question. Angel said, so as an artist, we still have like a maintenance service for the artwork, like a warranty? I'm not really familiar. No, I don't have anything like that. Some artists will revarnish and do different things. I don't do anything like that, but I do want to make sure that what they buy stays looking like what they bought. I don't want anything fading over the years. That is not the name I want for myself. And I don't want to disappoint someone. That's a bigger thing too than just worrying about my own name. I know what it would be like to have something, let's say I saved up and I bought an original painting and I loved it so much and over the years it starts to fade. I'm not going to feel good. That's disappointing. So I don't want to make someone I do not like to disappoint people at all. So that is, That's a bigger deal for me with that too. But warranty, no, there's not really any maintenance you need to do, but you do need to use light fast products that aren't going to fade. You can't, if it starts fading, you don't do maintenance on it. Like it's bad art or, badly done. I just got a bunch of thumbs down for that. Or I will. Let's see. Monica said, I have a hard time with watercolor pencil. I feel like I overblend. Can you use watercolor and colored pencils together? Yes, but do watercolor first. Be 100% done with watercolor and then switch to your normal colored pencils. You can put a wax or oil-based pencil on top of a watercolored pencil, not the other way around because that would not be archival. But wax and oil on top of water, no problem. That you can do. Oh, that jumped. Where were we? Here we go. Paulo said, greetings. Greetings, Paulo. Jason said, I found my small brushes and using them for the hummingbird, I have to redo the flower with smaller ones. Sarah said, acrylic freaks me out. I love the look of them, but I'm so slow to use them without destroying all of my brushes. Oh yeah, oils may be you may like oils then. Oils, there's no rush time, which is nice. Kyan said, I'm thinking about purchasing pigment markers. What exactly do you need to work with these? Yupo paper, number one. If you want to get the results I was getting, you want to use Yupo paper. I'm gonna switch to blue. But Yupo paper, for that to blend. And then, yeah, that's really it. That and whatever pigment marker colors you want should be enough for you. I can't think of anything else. If I'm missing something, someone remind me, but I think that's really all you need. Oh, come back, Jason. Where are you? Jason said, question, could you describe why you started by highlighting the edges and leaves as dark shaded when the reference photo seems to have white at the edges of the leaves? Because I'm going to put white on top. And it's not white. Well, okay, I take it back. There's a couple of spots that are white, and actually mine are left white where they're white. But I'm going to go back on top with white. We do have white pencils, so we can go over it. Let's see. And I know some watercolor artists are very traditional and very like, no, you can't go. Whatever. I'm going to do what makes my artwork look good, and in this case, easy and fast. So that is what I'm going to do. Let's see. Gina said, the only Will Ferrell I like is the Lego movie. There was a Lego movie? Mostly he just does voiceover. Way better. Interesting. And it's just weird. I've seen him in interviews and he was funny. His movies are just not for me. I don't get the humor there. But like when he's interviewing and just like talking normal, his sense of humor seems kind of funny. It's not like childish fart jokes or whatever, which I don't laugh at. It just not funny to me. So I got enough of that from my Greyhound. So like it's just not for me. But when he was interviewed, he seemed very intelligent. He seemed to have a decent sense of humor. Very odd. Too bad he can't carry that into his movies. Erica said, do you recommend and drafting tables? I want to work much larger. My paper is 28 by 20. Drafting tables are great. I don't use them because they don't go up. Like I need to be at almost a 90-degree angle because of my back and my neck. But a lot of people love drafting tables. So that is definitely, yeah, I would recommend them. I mean, at least the people I know who have them love them. Heather said, also, should we use distilled water? Or also, you should use distilled water with all watercolor pencils. Yes, absolutely. That is a very good point. Because what is in our, and I'm using tap water because again, I don't care. You know, Stacey, if you're getting this, your work was not done with my best effort. But Stacey's my friend who I'll probably send this to. But your water is, like your tap water has all kinds of crap in it that is not archival. We don't want to use that. If you're working with water-soluble graphite, Inktense, watercolor pencils, watercolor in general, use distilled water. That is, and it's not that expensive. It's like under $1. Half the time it's like 50 cents. Depends on where you go. And it does, I mean, it works. It's your better bet. Let's see. If I mix super light fast color with one that is not light fast, what will happen after I mix the two light fast to the light fastness rate? The one that was not light fast will eventually fade, exposing more white of the paper, which will affect what the color looks like for the one that was not light fast. Using the light fast one with the non-light fast does not make the non-light fast more light fast. Just not how it works. Let's see. Casey said, I wonder if anyone has ever tried to paint with olive oil. Oh, I'm sure they have because they thought that was what someone meant by oil painting. I guarantee you someone has, and people will try to use that or baby oil to blend colored pencils. That is not light fast. Don't do that. Let's see. Lynn said, I use Prismacolor pencils. What is their quality? Everyone just cringed who knows me well. I'm not a fan of Prismacolor. I started with Prismacolor. Now, to be clear, you can make stunning work with Prismacolor. That's not my issue. My issue is major quality control, and like half the pencils aren't light fast. But the quality control is so bad that you'll be using it and it just keeps breaking. They're not, okay, so a pencil, you want it to be completely straight. And a colored pencil, a wax-based pencil, which is going to be more prone to breakage, which is not something I criticize that for. Like that's, or you know, being wax-based and being more brittle, that's just the nature of a more wax-based pencil. But the problem is when your lead isn't straight, and you can't see it on this, but on Prismacolors, the back, you can see where that lead is centered. It's not centered at all. And this pencil, I've seen some, they look like boats. They're warped so bad. You try to sharpen that, you're talking about a brittle lead in a not proper casing. It is going to break. Prismacolor used to be really good, and let's just go ahead and start blending some of these. Oops, that's not the one I want. They moved they got bought out by somebody else. They moved their production facilities, and I'm not saying it's because of where they're produced now. I'm just saying who's producing them is just they cheaped out. They cheaped out on the wood casings. They split constantly. You sharpen it, it breaks. You look at it wrong, it breaks. You use it, it breaks. And I always get people who, mine don't break. Good for you. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I've had more. That sounded really snooty, didn't it? Or snotty. I've had way more experience than the average person. I've gone through thousands of these pencils where you've probably gone through maybe 50. So I have more of a sample size to say what they are like. You may get a good batch. I've gotten good batches, but they have issues. And some people said they think that they fixed it. I don't know. I haven't heard that directly from the company. It's not, the people who make it, it's not an art supply company. They don't care. Whereas like Derwent, Faber-Castell, Caran d'Ache, they're an art supply company. They care that they're making something that's you know, good for artists, what artists themselves want. So, you know, that is not dark enough. I have to go over that with more when it dries. But let's go ahead and leave that and move on to the next one. So, but Prismacolor, it's not, I used to use them. I got so sick of them breaking that I just was like, I want my supplies to do what they're supposed to do. This one is scratchy. It has a little like nugget rock thing in it. That's not ideal. That's better. So you can use them and you can get beautiful results, but they are probably going to break on you a lot, and they're not the most light fast pencil. So when you factor those in, the fact that they're less expensive than some other brands, it's not the value you necessarily think you're getting. And there are people who just prefer the way Prismacolors feel and work, and that's fine. I get it. It has an annoying nugget in it. Get out. But yeah, there's my Prismacolor rant. Will I be doing any art critique soon? I plan to do a big group critique. Whoop, that scroll. But Sky said, congrats on your new little dart frog. As soon as you said he was reddish in color, I thought we should name him Quidonkydonk. Quidonkydonk. Oh my God. He is now Quidonkydonk. Quidonkydonk. What does my husband call him? Cletus. I'm calling him Quedoculatus. Oh my gosh, you are a genius. That is a must. Especially because he's a studio dart frog. Like, he's in here. So he's so cute. He's getting brave and coming out more and more. I just put in some fruit flies for him earlier. He's the cutest little, he's just so tiny. It's like playing Where's Waldo trying to find him, because he likes to hide under the frogs, the leaves. And he, like, little head just sticks out. So freaking cute. Anyway, Boots Mama said, even though Prismas fix the problems, they're not my favorite. I love polychromos. I don't know if they did fix the problems. I don't know that firsthand. I only know a few people have said that. And it almost, like, the people, when I hear it, I'm like, is that just a rumor though? Like, did they actually fix it? So I don't know if I believe that. I can't say. I'm just speculating. So my speculation has nothing to do with experience or facts. I'm just like, if they fixed it, wouldn't they have like a big press release, like brand new and improved? But I don't know if that's happening. So I'm like, did they though? And maybe I'm wrong. It's possible. Sergio said, Prismacolor reworked their wood case. So just for the absolute utmost greatest irony and the fun of it, would you give Prismacolor another go? If I could verify that they claimed they did, yeah. I've only had people tell me that, but I've not seen anything posted about that, which is kind of weird. I guess I should look more into it. Maybe it's on their website. But like I said, they're not an art supply company. They don't take it as seriously as Derwent or Faber-Castell or any of the other brands. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, and here's my issue. We've been complaining about this problem for what? 15 years. I've been complaining about it for, well, here, let's just back it up. I made the video, and I guarantee you they've seen it, because as it turns out, most art supply companies have seen this video, which is weird to me. I was surprised when I found that out. But I did the Prismacolor versus polychromos. That's what it is. And I've compared them with multiple brands. They've known, YouTubers have been talking about this, artists have been talking about this and complaining about the quality for years, and they made only excuses. They weren't fixing the problem. And I made that, what, in 2012, 2013? I don't know. It's a pretty old video. And there was no statement other than, oh, if you have a defective pencil, you can return it. I don't have time to keep returning my pencils. I need them to work when I buy them. If I'm using it and I have to sharpen all the way down to the bottom, I can't keep returning, or this is ridiculous. And so I just don't respect the company very much. And I guess that's why I have a very hard time believing they really improved it. We'll see. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. That would be awesome. I would like to have more colors that I could use. You know, I could pick out the ones that are light fast. That would be great, because the performance of them for certain things are okay. The other thing I don't like about, I need green. The other thing that I really don't like about the Prismacolors is the wax bloom. Man, I do not miss that. And that's not something that I have to deal with at all with my current pencils. Like, none of my other colored pencils. Even the the Derwent drawing pencils, which are extremely waxy, they don't have wax bloom. So I do not miss those days where you're just constantly wiping the wax bloom off. So given that alone, that and the light fast probably wouldn't. I don't see myself like using them regularly. The more pencils there are out there, though, it's not like I'm like, think it's bad that they exist. That's good. I don't trust them. Let's see. But I do need to look into it more. George said, my portrait's clothes are too loud in the red-violet shadows and the red medium tones. I am doing tests with green to tone these areas down. Any other suggestions? Browns might work. Purples might work. I would get a scratch piece of paper and test what it looks like when you mix certain colors. Is probably going to be your best bet. I can't see it, so I can't give you a definite, like, use this. But I would do little scratch tests. Let's see. Well, hold on, I'm scrolling. I was just being nosy and seeing what was being deleted. I'm like, ooh, what was that person saying? Sorry. Let's see. Whoops, I have to scroll way up. There we go. Casey said, do you know what effect you would get if you burnish with watercolor pencils, then blend them? Here, I'll show you, actually. Let me grab a piece of paper. It doesn't blend out as well, and you don't have as, like, just the layering. I don't like it. So here, I'm burnishing. Give me darker for sure. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have as much control. It's hard. Oh, that one blended out perfectly, even though, holy crap, that blend, I'm surprised. Okay, some colors have not blended out that well. That was not what I was expecting it to do. Good job, Faber-Castell. But usually it doesn't blend out quite as perfectly. That was like, holy crap, everything blended. Okay, well, I just learned something new. Was not expecting that. Amy said, Prismas are not what they were 20 years ago. I still have a 36 set from when I was 20 that work better than my brand new 150 set. So I'm curious then, okay, is your brand new 150 set, was it new from, like, is it the new improved, or is it new to you, but it's been on the shelf for a few years? Like, I have so many questions. And how would I know if I got the new and improved versus one of the older ones? If did the labeling change? Like, I have questions. We'll go with that. Erica said, I know you don't use them. Surprisingly, Caran d'Ache pastel pencils are scratchy and some don't lay down color just because of hard pigment pieces. Jason said it was a waste of money. You know, that isn't a huge surprise to me. What the heck? Is this guy just hitting on people? Just block him from the channel. I think you can block him. Yeah, 14 keeps being, if he's being a pest, just block him. But where was I going? Sorry, I got distracted by what is going on in chat. I normally don't pay attention at all. I should go back to that. Yeah, I definitely would trust Jason on that. And I will say with Caran d'Ache, it surprises me on some of their stuff because they'll get really expensive. And I need to go quicker, so let's move along as I chat. They'll get really expensive and not necessarily be that much higher quality. So some of the stuff is, like, I love the Caran d'Ache Luminance. Not a huge fan of Caran d'Ache Pablos. They work for some things, but overall, I don't even own a full set. I didn't like them enough to put the money into it. Their graphite pencils. The thing I loved about their graphite pencils is that they're colored which shade. It's easy to say, oh, that's going to be a 4H or this one's going to be a 2B. You can kind of easily see by the whole casing is, do I have one over here? The whole casing is colored. They're horribly expensive for not being that amazing. They're not as good. Like, I never use them in my actual artwork besides, they're good. You can create good artwork with them. Let's back that up. You can create good artwork with them. I feel like I have more control and I like the results or the performance better of my Faber-Castell graphite pencils and the 9000 and the Derwent drawing pencils, the new ones, because they did improve them. I just wasn't that impressed with the Caran d'Ache on that. So yeah, they're hit or miss on some of the products I definitely like better than some others. I'm going to just block all this in there so we can get into the darker values quickly. So I'm just kind of scribbling about where stuff needs to go. Let's see. Susan said, evening, Lisa. I have a sinking issue with my oils. I work very slowly in layers. If I use liquid in the painting process, would you oil out the liquid or add a spirits mix? I just use liquid. While I say it's fast drying, it's not that fast drying. Like, it's going to, that's not even where that needed to go. It will not dry. You've got a day before it dries. So, or, overnight. So chances are liquid by itself is fine. I don't mix paint thinner in with anything normally. That is a very rare, there are a few rare techniques I'll do that on. Not often. I haven't done it in years. Normally, I'm just going to use straight liquid. And if I need it to be thinner, I can use the liquid. You can thin it out. If you need like fine detail, you could thin it with your paint thinner. But I typically, if I want thinner, I just use the liquid fine detail. I like the results I get better with that. And I don't have to take the time to mix things because I'm lazy. I don't want to spend the time doing that. So yeah, the liquid on its own should be fine for you. I would get a small bottle of it and see how it goes. But I don't think you need to do anything else. Unless you're planning on blending the same layer the next day, which I would just work in a smaller section then. Hannah said, slightly off topic, could you make a video how to record yourself painting? I tried to record myself. I couldn't get my angle right. Ended up leaning over. It killed my back. Yeah, and I can give you a real quick tip. This is a studio boom mic. It's about, 20 pounds. I think it's heavier than that. The base of it is super heavy. You need a heavyweight boom mic, but that's how I'm able to get the camera in, while working upright this way into front of it. A lot of people will work where it's down, looking down on the camp, like they're working flat. I can't work flat because of my back, but this is the studio boom mic, but you need a heavy duty one. Don't cheap out on that or it'll just fall over if you have a heavy camera. Like with the webcam, it doesn't weigh enough. Anything would work, but with a heavier one, it would fall. I know that from my days in the band. People were messing with their boom mics they kept falling. Let's see. Hannah said, I also love that you do these videos. So helpful for newbies. Oh, I'm glad. Whoops, we just jumped. Oh, hi, Gibson. Can I help you? What do you want? Let's see. Hi, Art Gear Guide. I haven't talked to you in a while. Whoops, that just scrolled too far. You guys should check out his channel. He has some really good reviews. Like, really good reviews. Very, very thorough reviews. Like, I definitely recommend him. Let's see. Where were we? Amy said, just bought them from Amazon and they were out of stock, so I'm assuming new. Hopefully. The Amazon's hard anyway, because they may just find someone that still had some, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, see, that's the thing. If they're new, if they're new and improved, why wouldn't they label that? Like, Derwent actually went ahead and made their big new and improved graphite pencils. They made, the graphite was the big new and improved. I don't know if they changed anything else. That was a big thing for them. They advertised that on their Facebook page. That was a big, like, they had me make videos on it. They had other artists like, this is a big deal everyone hears about and everyone knows about. So why, if Prismacolor, which is like the biggest colored pencil in the US, or the biggest sold for sure, because that's all most companies sell, I'm going to burnish because we just learned that worked well. Let's go ahead and put some more pressure here. But if they, like, why wouldn't Prismacolor make an announcement or make a marking on it, new and improved? That's why I just don't trust them, and I don't believe that they are actually new and improved. What does oiling out mean? Adding oil to the word, what is it? Adding oil and then painting on top of that. That's what most mean, I believe. I could have that wrong. I don't know. I mess up terms. Missy said, oh, is that Gibson behind you? It was. How is he and Wade doing with this heat? Gibson will go, and we have to watch him because he just goes out there and he'll pass out for like a half an hour in the sun. My black dog passed out in the sun. He doesn't seem too fazed by it. He still insists on his walks every single night, but we walk after dark because that you don't want to burn their feet. Wade decided he would rather just stay home and not walk, so we mostly leave him here. Sometimes we bring him. Usually we leave him. We give him his Kong with his peanut butter, and that's like what he expects at walk time. Because he acts like he wants to go with this, but then you have to drag him out the door. He's like, nope, don't want to go. It's scary out there. So, yeah, Wade seems more affected by the heat than Gibson does. But Wade has always been, like, when you take him on a walk, he is out of breath for so long after. So even when it was cool out, like, he does not have much stamina for a greyhound. Gibson does. Let's see. Whoop, that just scrolled. Where were we? Oh, we're way too far. Hold on one second. Scrolling back up. Here we go. Casey said, I think it would be cool if pencil companies made the pencil cases in two colors. The one that shows what the color is, it's light at its lightest and the other at the darkest. That would be cool. That would be, I'm not sure how to make that happen, but that would be cool. Sergio said, depends on where you get the Caran d'Ache pencils. Here in Europe, I managed to get the full set equivalent to the equivalent of 2 Faber-Castell 9000 sets. Oh, see, now that definitely makes a difference. That makes sense. Jason said, how is Gibson doing? He is amazing. He is seriously the best. If I had a dog in my life that I wanted to clone, it would be him. Like, I mean, Wade's awesome. My Italian Greyhounds were awesome. Gibson is like the best. He's like my dream dog. Everything about that dog is like exactly what I want in a dog. Like everything. Boz said, I may have missed something, but where is the reference photo from? It is from Pixabay, and you can get it over at patreon.com/Lachri. You don't need to be a member. It's just over there for you. Aurora said, what sets of colors of pigment markers would you recommend for beginners? I can't tell you what set. I just have a whole, like, I went out and bought all the colors, so I didn't really play around with, like, basic sets. I can't tell you what I would necessarily recommend. At least your basic, red, green, blue, yellow, purple, brown, and black, I would say. And white in a colorless blender. I don't actually use a colorless blender that often, but occasionally it's pretty helpful. Usually I just blend with my fingers. I am glad somebody asked about the burnishing. Which pencil was it that I burnished? And I did not get results like what I got with the Faber-Castell. That is amazing. Hopefully these colors will blend out too, and it wasn't just a color issue. Some colors definitely blend out smoother than others. And I'm just looking at my reference photo. I don't care if it's exact, but like, oh, this is more green. This is more teal. Just kind of copying what I see there. I don't need it to be exact. And these will sort of blend together, which is what I want. Buzz said, what print-on-demand company would you recommend? I don't know if I would recommend them. What I've been using is Fine Art America or Pixels, but they've got some serious issues on the, not so much from what I understand, people are still getting their prints. I haven't heard any complaints there, but as an artist who's selling my work on there, they are having some issues with their website, like on my end, but your end, as far as I know, works fine, like somebody who buys them. But that's who I've been using for years. I don't know if I'm going to have to switch to another one if they don't sort their crap out. They don't seem... One of my friends looked into it, another artist, she looked into, because she was having the same problems I did, and people have been complaining quite a bit, and the owner's like, meh, it's fine, it'll be fine. We're not going to fix it, it's fine. Some people say they're work, I don't know. There's some questionable stuff where I'm like, ooh, do I want to keep working with them? Like, I mean, I guess I'm not out anything by continuing to work with them, because as far as I know, everyone's still getting their stuff. And if you ever didn't, you could always, I don't know if you guys know this, if you ever order something online and you don't get it, whether it turns out to be a scam, whether whatever, you don't get it, call your credit card company. Do not wait more than a month. Like, don't go, oh, it's not here yet. It's still not here yet. These companies, the ones that are scammers, and Fine Art America is not a scammer, but if a company is a scammer, you just need to call your credit card company in time and they will reverse that charge. So it amazes me how many people don't know that. But let's say Fine Art America just like took charges and didn't send something, and that's not happened. But if it ever did, like, that's why I'm like, it's not really risky, because if it ever does, you can always get your money back. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to blend those, and then we'll work on the other side and then go over final details on, or, another layer on these. Oh my gosh, Faber-Castell burnishing is amazing. What in the world? How did I not try that before? I mean, I tried it with other ones and just assumed, like, was it the Derwent? It didn't blend out as nicely. I would say between all of these, I'm leaning more and more to liking the Faber-Castell. People have asked me which one I like best. I'm like, they all, performance-wise, I like them all for different reasons. But the more that I use the Faber-Castell, I will say they're growing to be the one that I kind of want to reach towards a bit more. Yeah, I am definitely liking them. But before I couldn't really say, because it's like I've not done enough with any of them to where I feel like I can give a definite opinion. Whereas like colored pencil, I've been working in colored pencil for 20 something years. I can give my opinion on how a pencil performs there, but watercolor, I'm like, it's kind of new to me. I haven't used them that much. I'm really not sure. But wow, that blends out smooth. And I just want to smudge these together, let it just kind of bleed in. Now I'm wiping, so like right here is really green. I don't want to smudge that too far down, so I keep squeezing the water brush and wiping it on a paper towel so that I don't over smudge. And that's the thing you've got to watch when you're working with these, because they do blend so well. You don't want to just like wipe and smudge all of your colors together. I want to see areas where the color shifts. I don't want one muddy mess. So in between colors, I'll just wipe it off on my paper towel. And that way, it's not too muddy. Man, these are fun to work with. Okay, I need to hurry up because I want to really work on the contrast on this. Let's see. Helen said, I hate that Prismacolor pencils are mostly off-center, and that is horrible, so I don't waste my money on them. That was kind of my thing. I'm like, I'm not spending money on this anymore. Paul John said, off topic, but would you want to go watch movies in theaters? I think they're opening. I'm not a movie. I get bored. If I watch a movie, I want to sit there with my phone and look up stuff on Pinterest or whatever. Like it is hard for me to sit and just watch a movie, and going to the theaters, I'm not a big go to theater. My husband usually goes to the theaters by himself. It actually works well for us because then he can go watch whatever weird horror movie he wants to watch. I don't sit and get scared. It's not that I'm scared during the movie, but when I try to go to sleep at night, I'm like, there's something under my bed. I know there is. So it's actually Gibson's head, but whatever. So yeah, no, I'm not really, it doesn't make any difference to me whether they open or not, other than that he enjoys them. But I rarely go to the movies. I don't enjoy being around people. People are icky. And if I can avoid it, I do. I'm just going to block this teal color. This one is cobalt green, whatever, it's teal, turquoise. And then I'll put purples over it. I'm gonna go through this a bit quicker because I'm going too slow. Now, if I were working on my own, I wouldn't rush through like this. I would take my time, and I would recommend you do the same, but you know, I'm limited on time. In this color, it gets so green over here. We can just put a base of this and then put the other color on top. Should work well. I'll come back with details in there later. Let's see. Savvy Nerds Collected said, reconsider trying 12 set of Derwent's new pastel pencils again. No, you don't like pastels, but I recently bought the new pastel pencils. Very surprised, very smooth, low dust. Interesting, but probably not. It really, like, it just makes me cringe to even think about it. I have issues. That just jumped way too far. Gypsy Heart said, dip in. Now, I will say, Smart Art Box, sometimes it has stuff like that, so eventually I may try it in that. We'll see. Gypsy Heart said, dipping my toes into oil painting, so I thought oil over acrylic would be the gentlest approach. When I do that, I cover all the acrylic with oil, right, to get it even. Usually, but some of, like, I do it in layers. I do it very translucent layers with oil, so they're very, well, they're translucent. So you can see the acrylic underneath it. But there are areas that maybe it just is mostly acrylic and not covered. Usually it's all covered for me. And then when I varnish it to make it even, so I don't have shiny spots and dull spots, when I varnish it, I use Gambar by Gamblin. Took me a minute. That's the varnish I use, and it'll even out, and that you can use on oil or acrylic. So let's say you had an area that didn't have any oil on top, it's fine if you varnish it over and it will all look the same. But normally I would say yes, everything is covered with oil, but you can still see the acrylic through it because of how translucent each of those layers are. Jock said, Joke. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. Hey, Lisa, I have been watching your videos for years. They have been really helpful to me to make my progress through the years. By the way, sorry if my spelling is crappy. Swedish guy here. Well, sorry that I can't pronounce anything. So we are a good pair. Welcome. And I'm glad that's cool to hear. Zita said, would you make a self-portrait but as a World of Warcraft character? That would be fun. Also tried the Frederick's canvas for the first time. Can't believe what a difference it made in my art. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. And oh my gosh, that sounds weirdly fun. I'd never considered that. I would have to be a blood elf. A blood elf or a void elf. Oh, that sounds, I kind of want to do that. I might. I would consider it at least, that's for sure. Aurora said, what watercolor paper are you using? I am using Arch's hot press watercolor paper, and the link should be, it may or may not be in the video description. JL said, hi Lisa, what happened with those videos you were going to do for Faber-Castell? I have no idea. The person who was running it either quit or got fired. I don't know. She was no longer with the company, and she gave me like, here's your new contact guy, but he never contacted me, and I got super busy with the move, and I was like, oh, I'll contact him later and ask about it. I don't know, because I still owed them more. And I don't want to like screw them over. They paid me with all of these supplies. I'd like to do more for them, but it was weird because I felt like there wasn't much direction. Because I had originally told the girl who is no longer with the company that I can't put music on it or anything like that because she liked how some of mine were edited. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I don't have the royalties. I have the royalties for my own, but I can't do it for yours. No worries. We'll have someone else do the intro and this and that. And I'm like, okay, cool. She just needed the footage. But then she wanted me to, she's like, well, here, put this over it. And it looked weird for the intro. I don't know. I don't think it looked that good. What I produced was what she asked for, but it was like, I'm not a fan. I think this could be better. So hopefully the new person, I need to contact them and find out. I'm guessing that she was just busy and there just wasn't a lot of direction on what they wanted and what she asked for. I don't know if she realized what she asked for was not going to look that great. So who knows, but I need to contact them because I do feel like I owe them still more. I agreed to do them, but then she disappeared and then I never heard anything. I'm like, so yeah, I don't know. Isabel said, do you intend to ever going back to doing non-live stream videos on YouTube? I've been doing them. Have you not seen them? I did. I didn't have one last week, but I had 2 the week before. So yes. And I want to do more for sure. I definitely intend on doing more edited stuff. One of my problems right now is editing. We have construction. There's one more house kind of across the street, kind of in diagonal. They're almost done with that. They're about ready to start putting on bricks. Once that's done, it's going to get way quieter. So not just the construction itself, but the construction workers blast fiesta type music. Like they are having a freaking party over there. It is so noisy. You hear it through the whole house. I can't edit when they do that. So that's a bit of an issue right now. And some days, like a couple weeks ago, there was no noise. Like it was super quiet. I was able to edit 2 videos that week. This last week, I've been busy duplicating everything over to Subscribestar. Why are you up? But duplicating everything over to Subscribestar. So, that didn't get done, but I'm planning on editing one on Sunday. I don't know what I'm going to edit, but my plan, because usually sometimes they do construction on Sunday, sometimes they don't. So my plan is to edit one Sunday and get it up next week. So we'll see. Oh, come back, Sergi. Where'd your question go? Here we go. Sergi said, would you do a mixed media sort of project live stream, watercolor pencil as a base, colored pencil on top, maybe a lovely amaranth flower? Maybe. That would be fun. Jason said, you could pull another koala time-wise. Oh my gosh, koalas take so long. Paul said, Patreon has issues recently. I'm a patron to other YouTubers and opened about the matter. What I'm curious to hear what issues you're having with them. Gypsy Heart said, okay, thank you about, was it the lawsuit thing? That just worried me. I'm like, I'm going to duplicate everything to Subscribestar. So if anything happens with Patreon, which hopefully it won't because I like their platform better, but if it does, Gibson, lay down. Come on, lay down. You're just being, come on, lay down. I know you're bored. Good boy. Such a good dog. Anyway, good boy. I love him. But, yeah, I just wanted everything duplicated, but I've not personally experienced anything weird with Patreon other than me being concerned, like whatever happens if they do go out of business, I need to make sure our videos are somewhere else where we can all still watch them. Anyway, Gypsy said, Gypsy Heart said, thank you. Oh God, I can't read. Okay, thank you about the oil over acrylic advice. It's a Galaxy. The outside darker part is still acrylic and looks great, but was worried I was doing it wrong not to be all covered. No, and what I do, if I have an area, I usually make it super translucent, really, really thin. If I mostly want the acrylic to show through. That's what I do. Gail said, do you use Caran d'Ache Neocolor water soluble sticks? I've not tried them. I'm very interested in it, but I have not yet. Let's see, let's make a dark area here. Yeah, it's definitely going faster if I push a little bit harder. I am finding, keep in mind too with watercolor, I am not an expert on watercolor pencils. I mean, you use the same technique no matter what medium on how light or your values and same core concepts in art, but I'm still getting the feel of these. I've not done that many pieces with them, not like the thousands of colored pencil pieces I've done. I've done probably like 5 or 6 watercolor pieces total, which is not very many. So with me, a lot of things are still experimenting and figuring out which pencils give me better results for different effects. Let's grab a darker indigo here. We've got that really dark area. Some green. We've got the green there. Actually, it looks like we've got this kind of glowing green right along the edges in here. Maybe some of that would be better to do after I blend this. This is so fun. It's so many colors. You just get to play with so many colors. Okay, let's see. Let's pull some darker areas here. Now my edges are still really blurry. We're going to fix that on our next layer once I get this blocked in. I definitely love, like, one of the things I like better about watercolor pencil than colored pencil, and there are things I like better about colored pencil than watercolor pencils. It goes both ways. I'm not saying, like, I prefer these to the other. But one of the things that I do like better with these is look how sloppy. Like, you can see all of these pencil strokes, and it's going to blend out just fine. And I love that because I am lazy. Some of that purple in here. The big thing is just to remember, don't smudge your dark straight into your light and expect it not to turn into mud. Like I want to keep those a bit separate. Angel said, fat over lean is still vague to me, and a bunch of artists have different answers. So fat over lean for me is not something I really have to consider because I never paint fat. Everything I paint would be, well, no, I take it back. I guess I don't paint super lean. So lean would, like, you know, the more paint thinner you add, that would be a super lean layer. However, because I use liquid, it makes it dry very fast, so it makes it behave like a lean layer. Let's see if I can simplify this more. So the reason that fat over lean is an issue is if something's really thick, say you use the palette knife, you put something on thick, that's very fat paint. It dries very, very slow. If you put a layer of paint that's going to dry faster, so something that you've mixed with liquid or something that you've thinned with paint thinner, you put that on top of that layer, that top layer, so your thin layer is going to dry faster than the thick layer, and that is going to cause that thick layer to crack and have some issues. That's why you don't want that to happen. You think of thin as fast drying. So thin, while technically liquid is your mixing medium, it's not really thin, but it dries fast enough that you're going to treat it like it's a thin layer. Or if you're thinning your paint down, so it again dries faster with a paint thinner, which is not how I paint, so I don't worry about that. That would be a layer that would dry very fast. Those could be your base layers. You want the slowest drying layers on top. Now with me, all my layers dry equally because everything's thinned out about the same. I mix a generous amount of liquid is mixed in almost everything I do. Everything dries pretty evenly, so that's why you don't hear me talk when I'm painting about fat over lean or any of that, because it's just not an issue for me because everything's going to dry about the same rate. So that's what you want to think of, is lean is your fastest drying layer. Fat is your slowest drying layer. You don't want fast drying on top of slow drying. It needs to be the other way around. Let's see. Ziga said, I would love to see that self-portrait. Also, how did it feel when you first realized that it helped artists on a worldwide scale, and how does it compare to classes you did in person? So I do miss doing classes in person because it's fun to hang out with people and you can just kind of be a goof and say stupid things, and it's like not on video where someone's going to screenshot and be like, oh my God, she said this. So you can be a dork. And you get to earn more of it. Although I would say I've gotten to where I'm more of a dork on camera than I used to be. But I used to be like so cautious about like sound professional all the time. Yeah, whatever. I'm over it. But that was one thing that I always liked about the classes. I loved the students. You got to meet a lot of different people. You got to talk to people from even in that case, I got to talk to people who were from all over the world. So it was interesting to hear what their home countries were like, what it was like for artists there versus here or whatever. Like it was really, I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy the students a lot. I had one student, Sally, she's from India, and like most of her life was there, but then she lived in Canada for many years, and it was just really interesting hearing all, her experiences. I did really, really enjoy that. But yeah, I can reach more people, and I've had people ask me to teach classes in person again. And it's like, I can't do that and teach online, and online I can reach more people, and I can reach people for a lesser cost. With my online class or online classes, $4 a month, you can get 4 tutorials a month and plus all the other 200. So $4 a month versus $20 for a 2-hour lesson once a week. I do like that I can provide more for less with the online. So there's that. Plus, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to be on time. Well, I have to be on time for live streams, but I mean, it just works. Online is overall better for me, but there are certainly things I miss about teaching in person. I really liked most of my students. The students I had, towards the end, my last set of students, I loved. Maybe just because I remember them more, but I really liked them. Helen said, sometimes when I want more bold result, I use the pencils on a damp surface with those watercolor pencils. So this is one of the things that I did not like the results. It didn't blend out then. I had a hard line on the first watercolor pencil I did. No, that was done with the Derwent. Didn't blend out. So I typically avoid that. Jason said, dork is as dork does. Bang said, hello there, I'm loving your art. Just wanted to ask about the kind of brush you're using to blend the colors. Are you using a specific solvent? I'm just using water because these are watercolor pencils. Also, thank you. This is the Derwent the Derwent water brush. So there's water in here. It's a number 2, and this is my normal go-to brush. I have one that's smaller, and I think one that's bigger. I think I damaged the one that was bigger, but this is my normal go-to. Okay, let's go ahead and blend these out. Again, I've got to keep wiping that on a paper towel. I'll pull that here so you can see how often I'm doing that. I don't want to smudge. I want to make sure I have some pink, some blue. See how I can just wipe off and squeeze a little more water coming out of there. Now, see how I blended that blue? I don't want to just jump into the peach. That would create a mess. Wipe off the brush and now do the peach. It'll blend a little, but if I blended straight into it, it would have been a lot. Now, on the flip side, I can start with the peach and blend into the blues, and you're not going to get, you're going from a lighter color to a darker color, so it doesn't create as muddy of a mess. A little bit of mud is okay. We just don't want to, we want to be able to see where certain colors are. You don't want to see one, if you overblend, you'll have one color instead of 4 colors. Angel said, well explained. Some fancy artists would want to complicate oil painting. Well, that was always one of my things. I remember reading books and I'm like, you are just making it so much more difficult than it needs to be. I like to try to simplify things as much as possible because for me, I understand it better. I also want to hear, like, don't just tell me not to do something, tell me why not to do it, because that's what I'll remember. If you just say, don't do this or do that, it doesn't stick with me. I know you're bored. It doesn't stick with me. Like it does when someone tells me why not to do something. I see that a lot. I don't watch a lot of art videos because I just don't enjoy the you sit there watching and you're like, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Maybe because I've been teaching for, when did I start teaching? In 99? So you learn, and I taught with kids for a long time in preteens. You learn to simplify things to the most basic possible way because you start using certain terms, you start wording it, you can certainly make it a lot harder for the student to learn by overcomplicating it. And so I try to how do I get them to get the best results quickly so they're going to keep interested, but also for them to understand why they need to do something a certain way. Okay, we're getting there, and then we can do the fun part that starts making everything look good. This is really colorful. I am liking it. I mean, for this stage, it's good. This is coming out really good on camera too. It looks pretty, maybe a little bit lighter than what mine looks like, but closer than usual. These webcams are not amazing. You'd think with where technology, here's my usual webcam, right? You'd think where technology is, we'd have better webcams, but we don't. You can use capture devices to use better cameras. I had problems with the internet when I did that. I haven't tried since I moved here. Like, I have a better computer now that should be able to handle it and the internet, but we'll see. I have to figure out. I don't even know where it is. Actually, no, the cam link is there. I don't know where the cables to make it work are. Angel said, yes, I am new to oil painting, so I need artist ideas and inputs, but you are the most helpful so far. Thank you. Check out her oil painting too. And I don't know how much of hers are lessons, but she's phenomenal as Lena Dania. Let's see, is your workflow different between Inktense pencils versus watercolor? Yeah, because watercolor I can reactivate where Inktense I can't. When Inktense is dry, you don't reactivate it. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind. I would say workflow is similar, but I do have to make sure with Inktense, like with Inktense, I'm trying to think how to word this. Inktense, I can't lift it to expose more of the white paper once it's dry. That's it. And so I would glaze a little bit different, whereas this will reactivate when I go out over it with other colors. However, with Inktense, like if I wanted super opaque white, the Inktense white is going to do that more. So, I mean, I guess some differences. Plug your ears if you have the headphones on. press over cold press, or is it a case by case thing? I've always been a hot press fan, but I haven't really played with these pencils on cold press. And I have some cold press paper here. I came so close to using that instead today just to see how it was. Maybe next time. So I can't give you a definite, always use this or always, this should work fine on either. But I've always been a hot press, or, you know, for colored pencils anyway. Because colored pencil, cold press is not going to look good. But with watercolor, it's a bit different. I just haven't tried mine. Carol said, good afternoon. I'll hope everyone is well. Hi, Carol. Helen said, I love the look of it already. Thanks. Now we get to start making it look good. So I do want to make mine darker over here. So let's go ahead. I can pretty much use the same colors, but I'm going to use the new tip you guys taught me about going ahead and burnishing to make it darker. That was unexpected. I'm trying it with Derwent. We'll see if that one works as well as the Faber-Castell did. Gibson, lay down. I don't know why you're wandering around today. I know. Hi. I love you. You're my sweet boy, but seriously, you should go lay down. You're just bored. I know. He is bored boy. Oh, thank you. Did you get kisses? Go lay down. He doesn't usually pace like this. I don't know what his deal is today. Gibson, lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Oh, itchy nose. Good boy. Now, all the way down. Lay down. Good boy. I wonder if it's because it's when we usually take our nap, if he's like, we're in the wrong room. That may have something to do with it. Or he's just bored. Okay, I'm going to go a bit darker. Where's a darker... Did I have a darker purple? No, let's use this indigo then. And I am pushing a bit harder now. Okay, let's go ahead and go over that. I'm going to start with the light. Wow, I'm really liking the fact that the burnishing worked well with the Derwent too. What did I try it with that didn't work on then? I know I tried it with something. It may have just been a color thing. Like it could have been the paper I was using. I am quite happy with that. Wow. Usually I'm like using everything with a light hand. Yeah, I think I just changed, you guys changed me on that one. Thanks. Let's see. Nina said, I was hoping your newest sea turtle painting would be available as a print. Do you think that will happen? Absolutely. I need to get a good photo of it. So I need the right lighting and time that day to take the photo, but absolutely both sea turtles I need to do. I did print them. They are coming up on the next Patreon postcards. So the sea turtle with the watercolor pencil and graphite, that one went out on, I sent out actually the last 4 months. So April, May, June, July, those just went out a couple days ago, a few days ago. So you guys should be getting those now for in the US. If you're outside of the US, that'll take longer. And then the sea turtles are on August's postcards. So that should be everyone who signed up for this month. Those go out next month, and that is those sea turtles. So those are those printed beautifully, but for like a big print, I need to get a better photo. So yes, I should have just said yes. Gail said, is that a beetle on the top left of the reference photo, and are you going to add it later? It is not a beetle. It is a little hiccup thing on the plant, it looks like a little scar, and no, I'm not going to include it because it's a imperfection on the leaf. Paul said, I have been waiting for Wonder Woman. Seems like they're trying to push it back till next year. Now that I will go to the theater to see. I really enjoyed the last Wonder Woman. Let's see, your tutorial, that didn't come out right. Your tutorials and live streams are amazingly useful. Maybe you could paint a nautilus or nautile, I guess. I don't know what that is. What is that? I have to Google. And thank you. Let's see. Monica said, do you have any tips about doing skies in colored pencil? Layering and layering and layering and layering and get a good reference photo and then layer some more. But it's the same as anything else. It's that for some reason there's certain subjects that we have a tendency to think should go faster than the rest of the painting. So let's say you're doing like this bottom with grass and trees, excuse me, and flowers or whatever, and you do all this detail. And we look at the sky and we're like, it's not a lot of detail, it should go fast. No, it's going to take you just as long as the rest of the piece. You break it down, same thing, into small sections and work that way. But that's my advice, is to look at it like you do everything else and just go slow. Garrett said, I'm new to painting, trying new things now that I am full-time working from home. Your acrylic videos have helped me so much. Thank you for doing all you do. Oh, that's awesome. Do I meet with my Patreon group? I do not. I don't know how many are even in this area. And I thought about doing like everyone could meet at like the zoo one day and take photos, but there might be 2 of us. Like then it would just be awkward. So, I mean, I had considered something like that, but I'm really not sure how to make that happen. And the thing, I don't drive. So that's also an issue. I have to plan everything based on my husband's schedule. Not always convenient. So yeah, I typically don't go anywhere. Like the only time I would meet, that I have met people is when I did Aquashella. And they're planning on it in October this year. Like Halloween weekend. I don't think that's going to happen. We'll see. If I have not been sick, if I can get an antibody test, because for all I know, I was sick in February, end of February. I mean, maybe, who knows? I mean, I think everybody at this point is like, did I already have it? I was really sick this winter. So we'll see. But if I did the antibody test and I knew that I've already had it, then I would be comfortable being in a lot. Well, I'm sure they would do things to make sure it was safe for everybody. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't like because I keep thinking of it like what last year's Aquashella was, which was insanely packed. Like that, it was really cool, really packed. I would not want to be somewhere right now that packed and be exposed to that heavy of a viral load. So that would be my concern, but I'm sure that they would make sure it would, that it was safe. So we'll see. But normally, I mean, I would say Aquashella would be the best place for a meetup if you like coral and fish. So I am pushing a bit harder here. Now I'm going through this pretty quickly again because I want to blend this out and then we'll clean up edges and detailing. I want to get my pigment a bit darker in a few of these areas. Let's see. Maybe a nautilus shell. I don't know what a nautilus is. Why don't I know what that is? Jason said, slow hum. Go slow hum. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Susan said, love the postcards. Yay, did you get yours yet? Did they come for this last batch? Let's see. Horsewoman said, if anyone thinks $4 for Lisa's monthly lessons, you need to check out other people charging no less than $10 or more for theirs, and Lisa's been doing it longer. Oh, thank you. Also true. I'm able to charge less because more, if you can get a lot of people watching, I don't want to make it sound like somebody isn't good. But it works out well because if enough people sign up, I can keep that price really low, which is nice, and still afford to pay my mortgage and other bills and electricity and feed my dogs. Yeah, I'm really grateful for being able to teach online. It works out good too because, as you guys know, I have fibromyalgia, ankylosing spondylitis, and celiac disease. Have all the things. So I get sick, where I just don't feel well often enough that it's so nice I can work from home. Like, so grateful for online classes. Plus, you get to reach more people. Really nice. And I don't have to wait for my husband to give me a ride to go teach somewhere. Plus, it's taught different than an inline or in-person class, but I like that I can do a complete project and the student can follow along at their own pace. One of the things that happened in classes is that you didn't accomplish a whole lot in 2 hours. And so a project would take so long, whereas here's cut down into 2 hours. You got a bunch of real time, if not all real time, where all the pauses are cut out in that, and you can get so many more projects done so much faster this way. Hyping up, wait, it's making weird sounds back there. Hyping up some of this color saturation and then details. Well, this guy's missing a whole lot of blue, isn't he? Keep some green in there too, just a little. We'll let that blend out to the blue. Actually, switch to a teal. And purple. I do not care if this is exact at all. I'm using that reference as a base. It does not have to be exact to be pretty. Oh, Susan said, not yet, I'm in the UK. Yeah, yours may take a while to get there, unfortunately. TLC said, and I know I remember seeing your name, I just couldn't remember seeing which section, which grouping it was in. TLC Time said, that is so beautiful, thank you. Jana, I'm thinking Jana because of Worldcraft, aren't I? Jana, I can't read things or say things, so I apologize for butchering your name. I have ADHD and knit at the movie, so I don't talk during the entire thing. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I can't just do one thing. I have to do multiple things. Like I always, while I'm drawing normally, I've always got an audiobook going. I can't just sit and draw. Same like here, I'm sitting and drawing while talking to you. I can't just, yeah. I was driving my neighbor crazy. It was a few weeks ago, or maybe a month longer than that. Her dog, she has a lab, what was it? It was the lab poodle that ate her couch. So I went and sewed up so the cushion at least wasn't spilling out anymore. And she kept putting stuff on TV. And I was like, I promise if we were just watching a movie, I wouldn't talk. She looks at me and she goes, I don't believe you. Like they were just TV shows that we weren't totally paying attention to though. Paula said, I don't think Aquashella will push through, Lisa. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, most things in Texas are open. Most, not all. So, I mean, I don't know. We will see. But I also trust Aquashella to do what's needed to make sure things stay safe, too. So, like, I don't think they would be irresponsible if they are able to do it. I would certainly be asking, like, well, okay, what exactly are you doing to keep it safe? But they are very smart guys. See, I'm going to create more of a shadow here. I'm using indigo on this at this point. So no black whatsoever on this. And I'm not one a lot of artists don't use black paint at all because it can be dull and flat. I get that. But sometimes it just looks better if you do that and then glaze other colors on top to get it really dark. This is not one of those times though. I don't need black on this at all. I used to work at a place, it was called Let's Art Party, and it was owned by, if you guys know who Dave and Buster's are, Buster, his wife Lacey, this was her project, and it was it was like painting with a twist, but better, like, because they had actual artists who knew how to paint, who taught, like, most of the artists there had a degree in art. I think I was the only one who didn't, but I've been teaching for 20 years, or no, like 15 years at that point, maybe less than that. But I had more teaching experience. So anyway, that's how I was there. Painting with a twist doesn't do that. You may or may not get somebody who knows how to paint. More often than not. But anyway, I was teaching there. Where was I going with that? Oh, nope, lost it again. What the heck? What was I rambling about? Huh. What was that story about? Oh, I remember now. So there was a lady. She was studying art. And so she was using what she learned in school as the Bible. Like, everything is this exact way all the time. And it's so dumb as an artist. I mean, she's a nice lady, but it was so dumb as an artist to put these limitations on you that this is the only way to ever do something. And you see that so often with a lot of people who go to school. And I see this in comments. And whenever they leave comments like these apps, if you have an absolute about art that doesn't have to do with like the work being archival or violating someone's copyright, anything else, do what you want. So I remember I did a design. Now keep in mind, this is for basically people who were drunk were coming to this class. They don't care. They just want to leave with a pretty painting. And so it was not Van Gogh. It was Monet. It was a Monet painting. And it was a simplified version of a Monet painting. And I had used black because that's what's going to be easiest for the students. I know what is easiest for students. And she made me redo it without black, which made it so much more complicated and did not look any better because Monet never used black. we're teaching drunk people how to paint. We're walking them through a fun night. Like it's so funny to me how people will put these rules that are just like, if it looks the same and it looks good, does it matter? Let's see. Fiddle Jewel said, a nautilus shell is a snail shape and sometimes striped. Ah, I probably have some of those here then. Jason said, you were talking about going slow and learning how to paint, and going slow isn't your style, so everyone is learning to go your speed and watch a few times. Yes, yes. Angel said, are you on Etsy? Sort of. I mean, I have an Etsy account. I don't sell on there anymore. The account is still there. I haven't tried selling anything there in years. I am not a fan of Etsy's platform as a seller. I'm a fan, I guess, as a buyer, sort of, but Etsy has done some stuff that I'm like, I haven't even trying to sell in years. I don't like the way their search feature goes. Etsy was supposed to be for handmade stuff, and it's mostly mass-produced crap out of China now, with some, I need a darker green, with some real art, handmade stuff mixed in. But sorting through that annoys me, and it's like, if it's supposed to be handmade, that would be better for the handmade artists to get sales, which would be awesome, because it's hard as making handmade stuff to get the sales. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the company. Jack said, you really seem to like painting ocean theme art. So my question is, are you ever going to paint or draw a mermaid? Eventually, maybe. It's hard to find reference photos of mermaids. They do not pose. Let's see. Monica said, is there a metallic colored pencil you like? No, I'm not. I think I have. Do I have any here? I don't know if I have them. I have a pencil that is metallic from Derwent. I've not really played with them. I don't know I haven't even researched enough to know what light fast there might be, but I've never really gotten into the metallic stuff. Although I really do want to learn gold leafing. That I'm interested in. So this one is deep cobalt green. So it's kind of a bluish green. Just to get some of these greens a bit darker. Gibson, stop. I think I wonder if one of his thing of not just laying down and being calm, he's recently been getting more freedom. Like I've been letting him not stay in my room. When I nap, he can get up and wander if he's bored. And I didn't used to. And I'm wondering if he's just like, oh, I can get up and wander and be a pest whenever. I mean, he's not really even a pest, but I can do that whenever I want now. I'm wondering that may have something to do with his not wanting to lay down today. You're being distracting. Yeah, I know. I see you. Hi. You're being distracting. Maybe I shouldn't reward you by petting you or giving you kisses. No, you're not getting under all the wires. You are going to unplug my computer. Go lay down. Nope. Now you're getting, nope, not if you're going to unplug the live stream. Go lay down. Go lay down. I so just want to pet him. Lay down. Gibson. Hey, lay down. For mom voice means you have to do it. It's like using the middle name. Lay down. Now stay this time. You've only got like 20 minutes. You're fine. Oh, I think I got his snoot juice on my nose. That's disgusting. This is a classy show. That's what you get for kissing your dog. Okay, let's blend this and then we'll clean up edges and do some highlights. Tallulah said, I got the red panda postcard last week. I don't know what day it is, but I'm in Scotland and I got it already. Wow. You know what's weird? I sent out 4 at the same time. So if you've been a member for a while, like it's weird when they don't all come together. But yay. Wait, when did I send the red panda? Was that on this batch? I think it was this batch, or was it the last? I think it was, I don't remember. I can't keep track. Jason said, I have ADHD also, so interacting with everyone in your live broadcast helped me keep focus. I get it. I so get it. Let's see. Like, I can't just watch a video. I have to watch a video and play a game on the phone if I'm going to sit still for it. Like, I have to do 2, always. Let's see. Where are we? Annette said, you have encouraged me in starting over again with colored pencils. Yay! Beth said, this picture of a succulent is already looking good. Have recently got a set of 36 watercolor pencils and want to try this picture. Oh, you should. And the colors blend so easily. Actually, while I'm sitting here, I should do that. Sergi said, one thing I learned about myself, the only time I can do a life portrait of someone is after the 4th glass of wine. The problem is I can't stop doing it after. That's funny. Jason said, school is the starting point, not the end of everything. And we have products that are different and does things that was not the way they did, so it's different. Yeah, no, you were so right on that. And I think that's a problem too. I mean, you've got like that artist I was telling you about. She's so hooked up on the rules. And the funny thing is she's an okay artist, but she's only okay if she follows the rules. Like she doesn't have an eye for balance, so she has to follow the rule of thirds. And if you break the rule of thirds, you're doing it wrong. No, just because you're dependent on the rule of thirds doesn't mean that an artist who doesn't need it, like it was very interesting. She was and it was funny because she was actually a senior, and it was interesting because usually I see that with younger people who are this is the rule, this is what they told me in school. And I would have thought with her being older, with her experience, she would realize that wasn't really how it was. But no, it was really interesting. There we go. Stuck on my airbrush cord. So yeah, kind of funny. But yeah, and that's the other thing. You're right. Things changed. The materials they had available to them back then are not what we have available to us now. So why not take advantage of all of the amazingness that we have now? You have these people who are like, this is how the old masters did it. This is how I have to do it. Let's see. Whoops. Does Gibson need a lube break? Nope. He was out at 11, so he won't probably want to go again until like 5. So, and if he did, he'd be at the door. He lets you know. He's a good boy. Jason said he wants your attention. Yes, he does. Paul said Amazon products are named ridiculously long. Why? I don't know. Let's see. There are some cheap colored pencils that work pretty nicely, and the Art Gear guy did a good review of them and liked them. Could try them. Might be a good choice for a student. I mean, gosh, this sounds silly, but it's like, I mean, he's got the video. I don't like working in cheap products because I want to be able to sell my work. Something like this I'm giving away. But it's like, I'm a professional artist. I'm not interested in cheap products. While there is overlap, and I do have beginners who watch my video and students who may watch, my goal is for the professional. And I know that that's not going to get as much as beginners stuff, but I'm not a hobbyist. I'm a professional, and I'm teaching other professionals what I recommend. And while occasionally I have used student grade products, they're not that's not my forte. That's not what I do. I'm teaching people more advanced things. And yeah, I mean, if they work for you and you're a beginner and that's what you're comfortable for, that's great. But I don't really see the reason that I would need to necessarily do that too. And there's so many cheap products. My whole channel would turn into nonstop. Let's review this cheap pencil. Or I can just show you the good ones when you're ready. So when you're ready to upgrade. Let's see. Okay, got that one. Paul said I have looked over a Bachelor Fine Art prospect. It's a bunch of art theories. Yup. That is definitely included in a lot of it. I'm not going to say there's no value in it, but I don't think it's worth what they charge for art schools. I know some countries you can go to school, it's included in your taxes. That's awesome. Then I would say definitely take advantage of it. I wouldn't do it here. I mean, if you're independently wealthy and you can afford it, great. But like, if somebody wants to be a professional artist, starting out in debt is not a good way to do it. I would not recommend that. I don't like the way our schools. I mean, people spend such ridiculous amounts of money for degrees that are not necessarily going to even pay back that student loan. You're just setting people up for a difficult time. And as artists, it's already hard enough, it can be a challenge to get to the point where you're making a living on art. Do we really need to complicate that by throwing in an art degree? That name, you know how many artists I know who have a degree in art, they work at Macy's at the makeup counter. I'm not saying that there's any shame in that, but you have this debt. I mean, the people I knew had these huge debts, and they weren't artists. Yet because I didn't have the debt, I could be an artist for a living, and I could afford to make less in the beginning. So, why do it that way? And I understand, and this is something that I think needs to change. I think that we need to stop insisting that you have to go to college. Not everything needs a degree in college. There are trade schools. There are better options out there depending on what you want to do. I mean, if you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, obviously you need to go to college. You want to be a school teacher, you got to go to college. But a lot of stuff out there, you don't need to be, and you can make a good living doing things. So I wish we would start showing more kids those options. Rant, sorry. Okay, let's start using the white. I'm gonna grab my Derwent white watercolor pencil because that one seems to be the most opaque. And hopefully I can find it because I'm missing a bunch out of this set. There it is. And this, using white paint, a lot of watercolor artists consider that a big, huge, oh my God, don't do that. It's fine. If I like the results I'm getting, it's fine. Sneak says, so funny watching you interact with the dogs. Yeah, me telling him to lay down. Velma said, I remember being told to use green to mix in flesh tones to get shadows. Yep. Then believing that was how you always needed to do shadows. Also no. Yeah, yeah, there's not one right way to do anything. There are multiple ways, and you have to figure out based on case. Sometimes your shadow may be purple, sometimes your shadow may be blues. I mean, it could be all kinds of things. Karen said, hello from Austria. I am finally able to catch a live stream. Just wanted to tell you that I have watched and learned so much from you. You always explain things so well. Thank you. Thank you. Whoops, we just scrolled too far. Here we are. Lori said, fun fact, a nautilus has a brown and ivory striped shell and is very large, 8 to 10 inches in diameter. A cephalopod been around 5 million years would be a gorgeous painting. Oh, maybe we need to look into that. That would be fun to paint. Jason said, boy, it is expensive following the products that we want to use because of the effect we want to get. Yeah, you are not wrong. Okay, I'm going to take this white and I'm going to push a little bit harder and define some of these edges. Get some details in here, and I'm not blending this out where I'm putting the white. I'm leaving it as is. Oh, and I'm going to apparently break my pencil. Let's sharpen that again. You could tell that one had been broken before I started adding the pressure. Oh, coffee, how I love you. It is so much humid. I think there's more liquid on the TV tray that the coffee cup the iced coffee is sitting on than there is in the cup. Okay, let's see. This pencil, oh, that's loose. That's broken down. And yeah, that is way broken inside. Not impressive. And this is my only white watercolor that works. I may have to switch to a colored pencil if this keeps up. How far down did I break you? I may have dropped it. There we go. That's better. Okay, I was starting to worry about you for a minute there, Derwent. Now here, I want that to fade out, so I will add a little bit of water. Wow, I did this whole thing just with a water brush. Just here, because it is a little bit too bold. Paul said, education was supposed to be inexpensive, but it somehow changed. It's sad. Well, yeah, you start getting the government involved in it, and they start, yeah, there's a lot, at least here in the U.S., why it got as expensive as it did. I am a firm believer in when you let the government get involved, things don't go, it's not a good idea in most cases. Yeah, it used to be a lot cheaper and a lot easier for most people to, but then we were like, hey, let's give you loans. So like when I was a kid, one of the things that a lot of people were doing at the time was working full-time or working part-time and then going to school full or part-time. They worked a lot. I mean, it was hard. They weren't out partying a lot, but it was doable and they didn't leave school with huge debt. But now it's gotten to where it's so expensive, that's even hard to do because they were paying for the classes at the time. So that is definitely unfortunate. Just gonna let that fade so it looks a little bit thicker so they're not as flat looking. Gail said, I missed what brand white watercolor pencil you're using. I am using the Derwent watercolor white. That one seems to be the most opaque. And I am pushing pretty hard. I don't want to blend it out. If I blend it, it kind of fades out, and we don't want that. Except the areas we actually want it to fade out. Okay, like here, this is a bit harsh. We want this to fade out. So let's blend that. I think I can make some of my darks a bit darker now. So let's get them in between here. I'm using, this one is deep cobalt green. I could use this and possibly the indigo, and we'll define these shapes and then just let it fade out. Now, I don't have to blend everything with water. If it looks fine without blending, I'll just leave it as it is. And we're getting to that stage now where everything does not need to be blended. Man, I love these pencils. What a difference just these last things separating things makes. A little bit of a shadow there. Paul said, maybe the degree name for jobs for resume. Yeah, I mean, certain jobs do require a degree. A lot of places are moving away from that, though. They're realizing that experience may be more value. So yeah, I hope that we move towards, I mean, and we've got trade schools, luckily. I think that needs to be something that a lot of students, depending on what they want to do, may be a better thing. Certain things, I mean, like you talk about art theory, you can learn that online and through books. You don't need a teacher to teach it to you. And it doesn't, having a degree in art theory, unless you're going to teach in, you're getting a degree for teaching, you really, in public schools or colleges, you really don't need those. You can teach yourself if that's something that interests you. Let's sharpen this pencil a bit. Jason said, I couldn't work and go to school because it was too hard. I will be going to school full-time this fall for an engineering degree. Now, that is a degree that's a degree you can pay off. Like, you can pay your student loans off that. That's a good degree to get. Let's see, I never worked in color before watching your videos, and I'm so happy that I listened to you and spent the extra money on the full set of polychromos. Buying cheap is a gamble. Yep. And polychromos are wonderful. Polychromos are the reason that I still work in colored pencil. I was ready because of Prismacolor. I was so sick of fighting with breaking pencils. I was like, I hardly ever, if you look back at my older videos, I had gotten to the point where I really wasn't using colored pencil anymore. Like, why would I want to fight with this when I can just use acrylics or oils and they do what they're supposed to, or graphite? So I really had lost interest in colored pencil until I tried the Faber-Castell. And the way that happened, so I did my last, where it was my only pencil I had with Prismacolor was a flamingo. And my friend Alan Willett did a flamingo, and he used, I didn't know at the time, but he had used polychromos and used, this is why I got hooked on, before they changed it, the Fabriano Artistico extra white hot press watercolor paper was because of him. He did a flamingo, and his flamingo looked like how I wanted mine to do. Now, I could have made that flamingo look like that way in acrylics or oil, so it's not that I didn't have the skill to do it. Those pencils were not giving me the results that I wanted for the techniques that I use. Now, could it be done with somebody, different techniques? Sure. The wax bloom, everything was just not for me. So I asked him, I contacted him on Facebook. This is before, I talked to him often. So I was a bit starstruck because I super love his work. He's an amazing artist. But I asked him what he was using, and he told me, and I bought them, and it was a whole new world for me. It was like suddenly I loved working in colored pencils again, because with the polychromos, and it's the same with all the pencils I use now, you didn't fight with them. It wasn't like a nonstop battle to get them to do what you wanted. And so, yeah, polychromos really renewed my love of colored pencil, because I was really close to giving up permanently. Switching to a lighter blue for that. I suspect his bigger thing, he wants to go lay outside. He likes the heat. I think that's why Gibson's being restless. Let's see what a difference adjusting these values makes. And some of these really should be more green than what blue I have as blue. It doesn't matter. Your values matter. It doesn't matter if I have the exact same color. Get those values in there and it'll still look realistic. Actually, I'm a little bit here. I pulled it out a bit too much. I'm going to push that back just to lighten it. There we go. That's one of the things I really do like with with watercolor pencils too. You can lift the color if you're like, wow, that was a bit crazy. You can lift some of it off. and expose more of the white paper. It looks like I'm going to go a little bit over today. Nick and Joseph just cringed. It shouldn't take me much longer. I think Gibson just cringed too. He's like, I want to go outside. And see how I can look at where are those lights and darks in the photo? What am I missing that I might want to darken or lighten up a bit? I also don't find I need my pencils to be super sharp when I work with watercolor pencils, which is nice because, you know, the whole lazy factor. Where were we? Elle said, this is awesome. I love succulents. Will paint this one later myself. You are so awesome, teacher. I enjoy your Patreon. Looking forward to more of your videos. Thank you. Tallulah said, my granddad says when he was at school, if you didn't do well academically in the first few years of high school, you were sent to straight trade school instead of sitting in exams. That was continued. So if you weren't academic, you'd leave school at 16, fully qualified in a trade. Definitely something to be said for that, I think, especially now it's so expensive. Yeah, that actually doesn't sound like a bad way to go. TK said, is the background on your drawing already finished or do you water it again? The background is finished. Now I'm just working on contrast. Mine's a little bit darker than what I see with the videos picking up, but close. Angel said, college professors would only attend 4 times a semester. Crap load of money wasted. Wow. Where are we? Gail said, I've noticed there are sometimes a few Gails here. Maybe I could sign in with my first name, Amelia, like Highlander. There can only be one. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Jason said, I need to go fund me for purchasing Caran d'Ache luminance or find a place that takes installments or sell blood donation. Just get a part-time job till you can you know, what did you have to work a year for a part-time job to get Caran d'Ache luminance? Just kidding, it's not that bad. Heather said, one issue with trade school is that because enrollment has been on the upswing, getting into that program you want becomes a lottery to get in. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, hopefully more trade schools will open up then. If the demand raises, hopefully that will happen. Where am I? Julie said, I just had to take my Greyhound out again. He did not get enough sun last time. He was out about an hour ago. They have to go charge, like they're solar. They're definitely solar powered. Hey Lisa, Dan here. I designed a thumbnail for my channel. It's based on a rune from Bloodborne. Nice. Okay, back to, let's quickly see if I can get some more of the definitions on my edges. Now see how I lined it, but then I pull that shadow out. Well, I need to water that because I actually made a harsh line there that I did not want. There we go. But I let it fade out so it's not just outlined. Let's see, let's pull a little bit more of the teal in here. Almost there. There's not something behind the easel. That'll be fun to fish out later. This I will have to blend out a bit because that is a bit harsh. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing when I kind of squint at this, I am just drawn right here. I need to darken that whole area up. Whether it's accurate to the photo or not, which is not super accurate, it doesn't matter. This is the stage at that end. If something is standing out to you and your eye is just really drawn to it and it's not really where you want your eye to be drawn to in the piece, I'd rather be focused in here. I need to tone that down. I have a feeling, oh no, there it is. I was gonna say, I have a feeling it was the purple that fell into the background, or up behind the easel, but it's not. Let's make these all a bit darker. And we'll blend that. Oh wait, what's right here? Let's go with the blue. We had a bit of a grainy tone. Would brush and pencil titanium white work over watercolor pencils? Absolutely. Well, titanium white mixed with the touch-up texture, like the liquid that you paint on, absolutely, like really well. Richard said, oh, duh, that was what I just read. Paul said, Color Pencil Magazine is hosting a contest. Should I join? I suppose you're affiliated. I'm not affiliated other than like I know them. I share their stuff. They share my stuff. I've written some articles for them. So I guess affiliated that way. But as far as the contest goes, I have nothing to do with that. But they look like they're fun. I think it looks pretty neat, and you have the potential to win prizes. So that's pretty cool. That's completely up to you. The one thing I can tell you, like sometimes you'll have contests that you have to pay for online, and I would normally say, nah, don't do it. In this case, we know for certain that Colored Pencil Magazine is legitimate. Like it is a legitimate publication. I know for certain they give out, you know, if there are prizes, they follow through with that. Whereas I don't trust some others. So, no, I mean, that's a legitimate contest. That's something, I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I would say I'm affiliated enough I wouldn't enter myself because that would be weird because I have written some articles for them. But no, they're awesome. I think we're about done. I'm really happy with how that came out. I don't even think Stacy's watching today because she'd probably be texting me right now or commenting in here about her new painting. I think she'll like this. I'm going to take a photo and send it to her. I'm excited to see what she says. Let's see. Monica said, you are one of the artists I watched and you're a reason I started to paint. It helps me with my depression, so I thank you. I really respect your craft. Thank you. And I hope your depression, I was going to say clears up. That's not the right way to say eases up. Hope things get easier for you. Jason said, I am almost with a job of walking a puppy, and I got some good pictures for later use. Drawing, painting, he is such a good dog. Nice. Let's see, this is inspiring me to make something with my Crayola watercolor pencils. Do it! Your colors may not be as, well see, this is super pastel, so I think your Crayola color or watercolor pencils will probably be able to do this. Like the super dark colors, sometimes the Crayola has a tendency to be really muted, but on this, that may be kind of neat. So yeah, mine's it's a bit darker. It's close to what you see on there, closer than usual, but mine is a bit darker in person. Yeah, that is it. Oh wait, let's sign it. Where do I want to sign? So this one's kind of weird. What I like to do when I can't tell if where I'm gonna sign, I'll put the pencil and kind of go, what would it look like here? What would it look like here? What if it was just in that leaf? Don't want to put it in the middle. Maybe I'll just do it at an angle here. There we go. I'll just sign it a bit smaller than normal so it's not, you want your signature to be visible, but you don't want it to be like, here's an eyesore. If that is where the viewer's attention is drawn, is to your signature, something went wrong. So what I like to do is take the pencil and kind of figure out what it would look like that way before I sign it over in here and realize, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. So that's my little tip for you there. Let's see. Jason said, do you know if, I do not, whoops, do you know if a store that does sell single stock of luminance? I don't know of any other than Dick Blick online or Jerry's Artorama online are the two places I go. So there we go. We are done. Thank you guys so much for following along or joining me, hanging out. Oh, I can already see a few little things I'm going to touch up before I send this to Stacy. Just separate that a little bit there. Yeah, I definitely can find a few things. So I said I'm done. Moderators got all excited. They thought they got to go to lunch now or whatever normal human things they do. And here I am. I just keep going. I have to blend that now. That didn't. There we go. soften that out. Anyway, I'm probably going to touch up a few more things. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Am I going to do the water droplet? There is no water droplet. That's not a water droplet. That's a flaw in the leaf that you're seeing on that photo, and I don't want to include that because I know it's a flaw in the leaf. I have succulents. I know exactly what those little boogers look like. Don't want to include it. Let's see. I know that you have 3 different watercolor pencil set, but of all of them, what is the best and opaque white watercolor pencil? I would say the Derwent white is my most opaque. Although, you know what? Let's test it real quick because, you know, apparently I'm going to be here want to sit all day. I've got to, oh, maybe I could do it just with what's there, just so I can save time. Didn't I try it? I tried it and remember being surprised, and I thought it was the Derwent. Was it the, I don't think it was the Faber-Castell. Maybe it was. Let's double check. Oh, hands down Derwent. Derwent watercolor white is the most opaque white. Susan said, thanks for a great lesson. Thanks for joining, Susan. The succulent looks awesome. Thank you. Paul said, thank you, Lisa. Job well done. George said, awesome flower. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you to Joseph and Nick. Their channels are in the video description. Make sure to check them out. Awesome work. What else? Patreon. If you want more art lessons, because I can get that out of the way. If you want more art lessons, I've got 1 to 2 hour. Most of them are real time. I'll sometimes speed up stuff where it's just repetitive, or anyone can, if you can't figure out what was sped up in the repetitive stuff, we need to back up some. But anyway, you can get those over at patreon.com/Lachri for as little as $4 a month. There are 200 of them available to you right now to watch and follow along with. And I have a new one every single week, multiple mediums. I'm really happy with how this came out. I cannot wait to send this to Stacy. I think she's going to love it, hopefully. And I think that's it. I will see you guys on Wednesday. We're going to finish, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to finish. Maybe we won't. As far as we can get on that hummingbird. And yeah, I don't know what we're going to do next week. Something with pencils, some sort of pencils probably for next Friday. I will see you guys Wednesday. Bye.